Obviously, the first of 2 games against Nebraska coming up tomorrow. Expecting a great battle. Some familiar names on this team: Jazz Shelley, Alexis Markowski, all Big Ten players. New faces: Natalie Potts, candidate for Freshman of the Year in our conference, a strong candidate, I would say. And a couple familiar names, as 2 of these players, Kendall Coley and Annika Stewart, had older sisters that played here, which is kind of unique. So we know them, and they've spent a lot of time in this building watching their older sisters play. But I think it's going to be a great environment. Nebraska's been a little up and down, kind of depending on the day. Seen them play very well, and I've seen them struggle at times. And so, I'm not sure which one we're going to get.
You guys lost the rebounding battle against Ohio State. What kind of stood out to you about what you guys didn't particularly do well from a rebounding standpoint?
Yeah. First of all, they're pretty big and athletic. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're good rebounders themselves. Second of all, we got into foul trouble, and that hurt us a bit too on the rebounding aspect. But I think they missed a lot of short ones too that are hard to box out. Mm-hmm. The longer ones, in my opinion, are easier to box out, but the short ones are tough.
Nebraska's another really good rebounding team.
Are.
They don't. I mean, looking at their heights, they don't seem like an overly tall team. What do they do well to rebound well, I guess?
Yeah, they're a +11, mm-hmm. which is very good. I don't know what we are. Do you know?
Like 9.5 or something like that.
Okay, so you guys know my stats better than I do, so thank you. Alexis Markowski and Natalie Potts are very good rebounders. Obviously, and their new point guard that's a grad transfer, she's doing a good job on the boards. It's just that they have a lot of people that really attack the boards. But yes, we have to make sure we for sure get Natalie Potts and Markowski boxed out.
What's been this week been like? Sitting on a loss for 5 or 6 days. What's the mood of the team? What's your mood?
I think the mood of the team is actually pretty good. I think they're very excited to get out on the floor again. We had a couple days off, which was really kind of nice, with the start of the school year. And so it was our bye week. Sometimes I don't really like a bye week after a loss because you got to sit on it for so long. But I think when you have time to sit on it too, you kind of process it a little bit more and don't just move on right away from it, but you process it a little bit more. And, I'm hoping that we can learn things from this that will help us move on.
From the outside, it feels like this week really emphasized blocking out noise. Whether it was everything that happened after the game, whether it was just losing for the first time in 2 months. I know you guys do a good job of that and have a lot of experience with that, but was that re-emphasized at all, or kind of just how important is that aspect for the rest of this year?
Yeah, to me that's always emphasized, whether we win or lose, just block out the external noise, because even if you win, there's always people that are doubters or want to take you down, or people that not get enough playing time or whatever. So to me, it's whether you win or lose. Tune out the doubters, tune out the extra noise, and that's why I try to caution my players, do not get on social media so much, because that's where you get a lot of it.
Jan said after the game that there had been some kids that were sick, or she described it as flu or food poisoning. She didn't know what. But, is everybody okay and ready to roll?
I would say everybody is in really good health right now. Yes.
How much did the break help Hannah get back to?
I think the break was really good for Hannah, and she's had 2 decent breaks in the last 2 weeks, and I think when I saw her in practice yesterday, I thought she looked really good.
Speaking of good health, Kylie Feuerbach getting a chance to be on the team this year. After having to watch from the sidelines last year, how much are you sensing just her enjoyment of this season, getting a chance to be a part of a run like this and not just having to watch from the sideline, but be actually on the court for this time around?
Yeah, when I watch Kylie, whether it's in practice or in a game, I almost forget she wasn't on the team last year due to an injury. She has recovered so quickly from that injury, not wearing a brace, no reminder, no hesitation at all. But I think she's obviously, like every kid, wants to have a little more playing time. But when she goes in, I have great confidence in her.
Alexis Markowski has jumped her points per game, her rebounds per game. not necessarily 3-point shooting, but inside the arc. She's up like near 60%. What have you seen from her on film that is maybe different from last year or the year before?
I don't have her at 60%. I have her nearly 50%.
Oh, yeah, maybe that. I don't
Yeah. You
Could
just
be.
usually know all your stats.
Yeah, I don't have it
was
next.
counting on you there, man. Why do I attribute her?
No, just what do you see from her on film
Oh.
this year compared to last year that might be different?
I mean, she's an excellent post player. She's strong. She does have that shooting range that drags you out a little bit, makes you guard her from farther out than you'd like to, maybe a center. But I just think it's her strength, and she's had so much good playing time. She's been a starter since her freshman year. I've always kind of been a fan. I think she does a really nice job.
When Nebraska is good as opposed to when they struggle, what's the difference? Is it making shots, making outside shots?
I mean, that always, I think, enthuses a team when they make shots, right? It's like they just have a little bit different bounce in their step. I'm not exactly sure, Sue. It's kind of just my feel. But yeah, I can't really give you one or two things.
Does it feel like that's just kind of how the Big Ten is this year, kind of past the first couple of teams that you don't really know what you're going to get? I mean, there's a lot of teams that look good some nights and look bad some other nights.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of that this year. I would say that's pretty accurate.
You think the top three teams are kind of gonna be the ones that stay up there? You and Ohio
Well, I
State,
hope so, because
Indiana.
we're in it. So I do hope that is the matter of fact. But, Maryland's a good team. I know they've been up and down a little bit, losing at Michigan, but, Ohio State lost at Michigan as well. So that's the thing, is you can never take a night off. I mean, look at Ohio State goes into Illinois, and, it's Illinois' game for most of that game last night. So it's a league where I think your top 3 or 4 teams are really doing well, but it's also a league that's scary because one of those other ones can really bite you, and this is one of them.
You look at someone like Jazz Shelley, her 3-point percentage has gone down, I think, from her first year at Nebraska to now. But is she just someone that you still re-emphasize to your players? She can fill it up really quickly if you're not, guarding her well.
And she has great range too. I mean, she's got long distance range, and in the last 5 games, 6 of her 7 shots have been from 3-point range. So that's pretty impressive.
How does the Potts girl kind of change their look?
Yeah, she's a power forward that would prefer to post up. She's not really a distance shooter, in my opinion. I'm sure she has that, in her arsenal, but I haven't seen it yet. But she's really aggressive. I think she's doing a really good job as a freshman, confidently posting up, rebounding extremely well on the offensive side of things. She's kind of just this lanky post player. And they're lucky that Markowski, has 3-point range, and so do some of the other centers that come off the bench, like Annika Stewart, so that she can spend more time on the block. Some people in our conference aren't able to guard that power forward down on the block, but I think we are.
Is she the one that's near 60% from 2-point range?
Yes.
Yeah, that's who I was
There
thinking.
you go. There you go, Kyle.
Quiz here.
The players have, and you've sort of mentioned some optimism about what you've seen in practice since the loss. When that game starts in those first 5 minutes, is there anything that you're sort of looking for in terms of a good sign that the team's sort of back where they need to be?
Kind of a locked-in defensive mentality, where, and again, to me, it's fundamentals. It's doing things like jump stopping and ball faking and just easy things like that I think we got away from a little bit. And so, and the rebounding, I think that's really important as well. So I just want to see an incredible focus. But when I say that, sometimes people think, oh, you're so serious when you're focused. I want them to also enjoy the experience and I think you can do both at the same time. I mean, we're going to play in a sold-out arena again. It's special, and I want them to feed off the crowd, but also give the crowd an experience that they can be proud of when they leave here.
There was some discussion after the last game about Hannah, especially maybe getting some negative feedback from some fans. I know that her dad said she had to delete her Instagram for a little while. In moments like that, is that something where, I don't know if you coaches ever step in and maybe try to give them a little bit more positive reinforcement in times like that, or if you try to encourage like teammates to roll around them, or if Caitlin obviously has gotten a lot of that in her career too. I don't know if she's somebody who steps in and tries to help build up her teammates in times like that too.
Again, it kind of goes back to that, let's not pay attention to the outside noise. Remember, she made a free throw that tied up the game. That was hard to do in that environment. I'm proud of her for that. Without her, we don't go to overtime.
How important is this game just to kind of serve as fuel to finish the rest of the season strongly?
How does this game or
Yeah, the Nebraska game.
the Nebraska game? Yeah, you want to get back on the winning track, right? I mean, you just want to get back on that roll again. I think, what did we win, 16 in a row after we lost or something like that? Let's do it again. Why not,
Where does Nebraska rank in terms of your favorite teams to play? I think fans consider them to be a rival. Do you consider them to be a rival?
Just because of their proximity, probably. But I think Iowa and Nebraska fans both do get into this rivalry, and I think they enjoy it quite a bit. To me, it's not anything more of a rivalry than any other game that we play.
The next player that